The moment you realize that your reality is your frequency, and that your frequency is the state of being that you occupy most frequently, that's the moment that you remember that it doesn't take hard work and effort, time and struggle to create what it is that you desire. It merely takes the inside-out approach of alignment to shift your self-concept, to align with the version of you that is in that reality through your thinking, through your feelings, through your beliefs, through your behaviors, to emulate that version of you, and therefore to attract to you everything that is in alignment with that frequency of that version of you. You see, I have lived this time and time again, and a few weeks ago, I created an experience with a group of others that I have now been receiving countless messages and emails from the people in that experience that have been wildly amazed at the results. And this has been using my 3-part alignment framework, which is a free framework that if you want me to send to you, just comment align down below and I'll send you more information and the visualizations, meditations, and worksheets to be able to use this and implement this in your daily life. Because you see, a few weeks ago, I had the inspiration to create an experience, to bring others into it, to over 4 weeks shift the frequency of the identity of each person that was willing and courageous enough to join this space. And you see, at the time, I thought that I needed to create a lot. I needed to put in a lot of effort. I needed to write the whole curriculum. But then I realized that actually there's another way, a much more fun and playful way, which is aligned with this model. Because this model is in 3 parts: identity, alignment, manifestation. And you see, the first part is where I started, the vision, right? It's identifying the vision, the inspiration of what this was, and the version of me that lived in that reality. And the more I kind of felt into it and opened up to it and meditated on it, the more I downloaded what this was, the frequency of it, the feeling of it, the reality of it, and everything that that contained. I started to imagine the version of me that was living in this world, that was leading this group, that was doing things that I had not done before, living in an unpredictable way, making choices that were so foreign to my current self at the time. And you see, I started to journal all this. I started to write it all down. I started to kind of map it out as a kind of game plan. And then I started to literally craft that game plan. I started to put into this whole kind of image, this whole vision, the daily routine, the new environment that I was in, the conditions of my day, the different kinds of choices that I was making, the unpredictable actions I was taking. And then I implemented that. You see, I created the conditions in my life such that that version of me emerged. When I aligned with that blueprint, when I aligned with that game plan, the version of me in that frequency, in that reality, emerged out of my days. And so this offer, which was the wildly rich immersion, a 4-week container with dozens of people from all over the world, I thought that I needed to create this whole experience, this whole plan. I needed to map out each of the 4 modules, each of the 4 calls, and I needed to plan it all in advance. But I discovered that through courageously stepping into this reality of that version of me that was already living in that wildly rich reality, by changing up my daily routine, by rearranging my environment and all the conditions within it, that version of me emerged. It's like a whole new world, a whole new me was showing up on those calls, living from different experiences, living from a different truth of who I was, coming with a different set of beliefs, a different set of expectations, living from a completely different self-concept. You see, when I stepped into that version of me, into that reality, that version of me appeared. And then people were like, who is this? You feel totally different. You're speaking totally differently. You're leading these calls in a totally different way. And I said, yeah, because I've completely changed the conditions of my life such that a different version of me has to emerge. And you see, this was the alignment. And the manifestation was the effect of the version of me that I had stepped into. So while I didn't know what to expect, while I couldn't have planned for this, while this required courage because I had never done this before. I had never gone to this place before. I had never attempted and approached this in the way that I was doing it. The number one thing that was actually needed was faith. You see, once I'd created the vision, once I downloaded that inspiration, once I'd set in motion that game plan, and I had the courage to live into it, the rest was out of my hands because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how anyone was going to respond. I didn't know if anyone was going to sign up. I didn't know what the result was going to be, what the outcome of this was going to be. But I knew that if I embodied the version of me that lived in the reality where this was a wild success, that the wildly rich version of me could meet and speak to and resonate with the wildly rich version of the people that were attracted to this offer, that is when the faith became available, because I knew that it was out of my hands, that through my frequency, that reality would appear. And within that reality, all the conditions and all the people and all the experiences must be there. So I don't need to do it. I don't need to earn it. I don't need to make it happen. All I need to do is align with it and live true to it. And this was an entirely new approach that completely smashed my paradigm. And now I'm playing with this much more often. You see, this is a much more playful way of creating, assuming the end, fulfilling the vision here and now, and then embodying that and radiating that and expressing that and creating from that end. You see, whether you're an entrepreneur or an artist or a guide of some kind, this will translate for you in some way or another that you can implement in your own inspired way. Like, what happens when you assume that you have already created that next service, that next product that people love, that people resonate with, that has changed their life? And then you work backwards and you assume, well, what am I doing? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? How am I behaving in that reality to be able to produce that, to be able to create that, to be able to offer that? Same goes for your artworks. Same goes for your guidance practice. Who must you become in order to create and represent and meet others in that transformation, in that experience? Who do you have to become? What frequency do you have to embody? What shift do you have to go through in order to step into the reality where that is? Where that is. And you see, what that becomes and the shapes and the forms that it takes on, that's out of your hands. But you know through faith that it will be aligned with that frequency through your commitment and your courage to align with it. That's the beautiful thing, is that everything that is in alignment with that version of you comes to you like a magnet when you have embodied it. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be opening up another container. I'm going to be stepping into another frequency. I'm going to be creating this immersive experience over a few days to align with that next level frequency. And if you're interested in exploring this, being a part of this, shifting your own frequency, changing your self-concept, creating a whole nother reality for yourself, then comment align down below. And I'll send you my free framework so you can play with it in the meantime. And I'll send you more information about this exciting new opportunity. Comment a line down below. I'll send you more information about it.